Amendment. I've been working on this, trying to figure out a way to help him out, but I think I spent like 4 hours on this and I still can't find it. I've been moving buildings around, but you need to make them a little bigger, right? And then you have to meet the width of the roads and the setbacks, and it's like how do you call those things that you put together?
Tetris.
Yeah, but they're made out of
Jenga.
no, they're made out of paper, and they have like 1,000 pieces, and then you put them right there, and they're usually puzzles. There you go. It's like a puzzle because you have like all these buildings, and then we're trying to make sure they fit in the right spot. So it's quite a project. It's not. We don't have a formal submittal yet, right, Riley? We do it right now, right?
Like you legitly wouldn't be able to pull
Well,
almost
but
anything
if he's gone to one review. Yeah, so it's on the way. Let's say that. It's on the way. The other one, they're already
He's moving along there.
moving along.
So what I recalled, unless it came in later, there was next to that 7-Eleven where Gandolfo's is, that was supposed to be a path out there, but now it's a road?
No, it's behind the
On the east side? of
animal
that?
hospital. It's on the other side of the house. It's not right next to 7-Eleven.
I'm talking about the part that came out to 7-Eleven onto what is that?
That comes out on the
Onto 700
on
South.
700 South. No, it's
Yeah.
still a road.
I thought it was.
But at one point, it was just a walking path.
I think they were gonna do that at one point.
It's gonna
but
be a road.
changed
That
it.
one, yeah.
Yeah.
That one right there? Yeah,
Yeah.
it's an actual, that's the main access to it. It's a road.
'Cause that's-
It's a private road, though.
Am I crazy, or was that first site plan
It,
was a path?
one of them was a path, but then I think it changed over, one of the iterations changed and, because the neighbors had a problem with that as well, that outlet being right there.
Okay, 7 o'clock.
Welcome to the April 8th meeting of the Pleasant Grove City Planning Commission. We'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance led by Commissioner Butler and opening remarks from Commissioner Coombs.
Please arise. Follow after me.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our kind and gracious Heavenly Father, we're so very thankful for this beautiful opportunity we've been given today to gather as commissioners, citizens, and staff of Pleasant Grove Planning Commission. And we ask that as we meet this evening, that we may be able to do so with open hearts, and that we may be able to hear each other's expressions, and that we may be able to make the decisions that will be best for the city. We ask that we may be able to travel home safely tonight and enjoy each other's company throughout the evening. And we say these things in the name of thy Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. So we have one modification to the agenda, that item number 2 will be continued indefinitely. I'm ready to take a motion on approval of the agenda.
I move to approve tonight's agenda with item number 2 being continued indefinitely.
Second.
Rest of it as is.
It's a motion by Commissioner Fugel and second by Commissioner Coombs. All in favor?
Aye.
And I'll take a motion on the staff reports.
I'll make a motion that we approve tonight's staff reports.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Coombs, second by Commissioner Fugel. All in favor?
Aye.
Does anyone need to declare a conflict or need to abstain from an item? All right. So we'll move to item number 1, which is a public hearing to consider the request of McKay Christensen for a site plan for 12 buildings containing 75 townhome units on property located at approximately 220 South Pleasant Grove Boulevard in the Grove Zone District, the Boulevard Mixed-Use Overlay. Riley?
Thank you. Sorry, give me just 1 second.
The request is for a site plan for 12 buildings containing 75 townhome units on property located at 100 South and 1300 West in the Grove Zone Boulevard Mixed Use Overlay. There is an existing plat for this property called the Boulevard Plat A. The proposed site plan will occupy existing Lot 1 and Lot 4 of the Boulevard Plat A. At the last Planning Commission meeting on March 25th, 2 condominium plats were approved for all of the townhome buildings. Here's a zoning map showing the overlay of the Boulevard Plat A. The project is going to be completed in 2 phases. Phase 1 is going to be the site occupying existing Lot 4, which is this westernmost lot, and Phase 2 is going to be the site occupying this Lot 1, this easternmost lot over here. And here's an aerial map showing the same information. And then here's Phase 1 of the site plan. The site plan will include 12 buildings, each containing 3 to 8 multifamily units, with 75 total units. Each townhome unit will have 2 or 3 bedrooms with an attached 2-car garage and additional parking provided on site. Here's the site plan for Phase 1 as well. The setbacks that were required for this development are 10 feet from local roads, which is 100 South, and then 18 feet from 1300 West, which is a collector road. These setbacks were measured only from public streets, so not from these private streets that go through the development. City code requires each multifamily unit to have at least 2 parking spaces. With 75 units, at least 150 parking spaces are required. In addition to each unit's 2-car garage, 21 spaces are provided throughout the site for a total of 171 parking spaces. City code requires that with 21 total on-site parking spaces that are outside of a garage, at least 1 ADA space must be provided with each parking area. The site plan meets this requirement by providing 1 ADA space on Lot 1 and then 1 on Lot 4. City code also requires that automobile parking facilities are supplemented in the amount of 5% of the total automobile spaces for bike parking. The proposed site plan meets these requirements by providing bike parking throughout the development. In this zone, the Boulevard Mixed Use Overlay has a maximum required density of 23 units per acre. The density requirements will apply to the master plan for the whole project, involving all lots shown in the Boulevard Subdivision Plat A, shown here, except for a portion of Lot 5, which is not yet rezoned to the Boulevard Mixed Use Overlay. The entire master plan project area is about 10.7 acres, with the possibility of expanding it to 11.7 acres once this area has been rezoned. Therefore, about 246 units, or possibly around 269 units, will be allowed for the entire project area. The 23 units per acre were allowed, with the caveat that a certain amount of commercial space included in the project will be dedicated to sales tax generating use. The density distribution of these units may be uneven, as there is an existing commercial buffer requirement of 64 feet in width along Pleasant Grove Boulevard. The intent of the ordinance is to eliminate any residential use located along the boulevard and to devote those areas only to commercial uses. The site plan has been reviewed by the Design Review Board, which found that the site and building meet the requirements for urban design as well as for building materials and design. Landscaping requirements in this zone, let me come over here to the landscaping plan, require 1 tree per 1,000 square feet of landscaped area. With 30,050 square feet of landscaped area, 31 total trees are required, including 10 evergreen trees. The proposed landscape plan will include 113 total trees, with 25 evergreen trees, which is about 61% of the required number of trees. This far exceeds landscape requirements for the development, and the extra landscape was used towards the point allocation for the required optional design features. Moving on to open space. Here's the open space plan. City code requirements that all new developments in the Boulevard mixed-use overlay preserve at least 20% of the net developable site area for open space. The site plan meets this requirement by reserving 30.1% of the total site for open space. The applicant has provided plans for the total project planned area, showing where the open space will be provided. The excess open space will be used towards the point allocation for the required optional design features. For any multifamily or mixed-use development in the Boulevard mixed-use overlay, City Code requires specific optional design features. Each optional design feature is assigned a point value, and the proposed development must include enough of these features to meet a certain assigned point total. This project needed to include enough optional design features to total 25 points. The optional design features that are listed in the code that would be an option include solar features, roof materials, multi-purpose stormwater detention, special features, common buildings or facilities, extra trees and landscaping, open space, or construction and dedication of a park or trail. These are the ones that the applicant has selected to use towards his point allocation. He has selected roof materials, which requires that all roofs of main buildings are clad with 40-year architectural grade tile or shingles. Special features, such as fountains, streams, ponds, sculptures, buildings, or other elements that establish a strong theme and are used in highly visible locations throughout the development. Extra landscaping, which requires at least 20% more than the minimum number of trees, shrubs, and perennials per dwelling unit in the development. And lastly, open space, which requires 10% more than the minimum required 20% for a total of 30% of open space provided at the site. The last thing I would like to go over is the landscape buffer. City code requires a buffer between residential and commercial uses. The applicant plans to address this by providing a hedge as a landscape buffer element between residential and commercial uses along the proposed sidewalk that you can see here in the landscape plan. The project area is a master planned development, so while these commercial uses will not be constructed until a later date, staff thought it appropriate to address this requirement now in anticipation of the future commercial portion of the project. Staff has reviewed the site plan proposal and determined that it meets requirements for setbacks, parking, landscaping, open space, and all other relevant requirements, and would like to recommend approval with the following conditions. The first condition has to do with the open space plan. The site plan has since been updated to move these dumpster locations elsewhere in the site, and the open space plan has not yet been updated to show these changes. So the first condition is that the open space plan is updated to match the site plan. The second condition has to do with the elevations. Here are the black and white elevations, side elevations, and then the color schemes for the project. And here are the color elevations that have been provided by the applicant. Here we see only units that are connected for 5. In the site plan, we have units that are grouped in 3, in 6, in 7, and 4, and other different numbers. So part of the second condition is that prior to City Council, the applicant will provide updated elevation and color renderings for all buildings, showing all sets of buildings that contain units or residential units from 3 to 8, not just a set of 5. In addition to that, we only have one updated color side elevation that shows the tan color scheme. The next portion of the condition of approval is that each building's elevation will be updated to show the correct side elevation. Also submitted will be a plan showing the color scheme for each building. So like here in the site plan, we need a plan that shows that this portion of, or these 3 buildings over here are going to be a certain color scheme and the same for all buildings throughout the development. So that is what I have. I can take any questions if you have any.
So in that recommendation, not just, let's see, color renderings for the buildings, but also location of where those are at?
Yep.
So they've submitted, and maybe I'll address it with them, but they've submitted one with 5 units, but they don't have any buildings that are on this that are a 5-unit
I
building.
have not received a plan for where each of those color schemes are going to be located.
I'm not talking this
throughout
color
the
schemes, there's not
development.
even a 5-unit building.
Sorry, what?
There's not even a 5-unit building as I'm looking at it. There's 3s, there's 6, there's 4,
Yeah.
but
that's
there's nothing
correct.
in there that's a 5,
That's
right?
correct.
So that elevation doesn't even work for anything that's here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. There's nothing that's 5. Okay. Okay. I don't have anything else.
Any other questions for Riley? Thank you. Would the applicant like to add anything here? And give us your name.
No problem. Good evening, Planning Commission. My name is Todd Amberry. I represent the applicant tonight. First, we'd just like to thank you for your time and thank staff. They've been fantastic, working through a lot of nuances on a complicated site. We're grateful we've gotten to this point so far. Commissioner Clyde, to your point, it's been kind of a moving target with moving dumpsters and things around and just accommodating a lot of different moving parts and variables on the site. And so, good point. There's no 5-plexes on it. There were at one point, but hopefully, we've been through the ARB board and we received full approval from them, and hopefully you understand. The building types are the same. There's no specific color palette for each specific lot. There's variation requirements that they've got to follow. But hopefully we could, we'd love to respectfully request that we get approval without that requirement, only because that's going to require going through various steps, additional steps of architecture for the same exact building. A 3-plex is just going to have 2 less units. It'll have 2 less interior units, and an 8-plex will have 3 additional interior units. So it's really the same concepts, same styles. They'll follow the exact same requirements that the ARB gave us in terms of materials, elevation styles, everything that was approved through the ARB. But again, we'd hope to be able to get that approved without that condition.
Realistically, how long would it take you to get those drawn up? Because they don't seem difficult. If I'm,
talking about the
I would say a couple of weeks, maybe. It's not my architect, it's the builder's architect. So I could ask, the architect's not here, but we could find out. Most likely a couple of weeks.
Okay, so to clarify then, so staff is recommending we move forward with those things, but you don't want us to move, you want us to move forward without those conditions?
We're fine with condition 1. We totally agree with that. That was just something that, again, just timing of moving things around. We just got to update the plan. It was just the architectural elevations. Again, we looked at it. There's not any change because the ARB already approved materials. Every
Well,
requirement.
then it should be on the plan, right? Then it should be there, if nothing's gonna change.
Fair enough. Yeah, and we understand that, and we can accept that if that's the case. We didn't think that materially changed anything in terms of the plans are going to be exactly the same. It'll be a 3-plex, a 5-plex, a 4-plex.
But you need to have not only what the buildings are gonna look like, right? What you're saying, but then whether it's a 3, 4, 5, 6, or whatever they're sitting there, but also which colors they are and where they're gonna be located on the site plan.
I don't think the colors I don't think the specific colors are located on.
Oh, I don't know what this building is versus this building, this building, this
I
building,
don't
which
think
would
the
be
site-
identified,
I don't
right?
think the site plan requires that, does it? To identify that today? I could be wrong. Yeah, I could be wrong. But again, a color scheme wouldn't change whether it was a 3-plex or a 4-plex or 6-plex. That was all I was trying to say. And again, I'm not trying to argue.
No, I understand what you're saying. I'm just trying to make sure that we're on the same page. Yeah, I get that you've got these 3 approved color schemes, right? But within that, they need to be identified where they're gonna be at. and which building.
And that may be the
correct?
case. I was unaware of that those need to be specifically called out on a lot-by-lot basis. Okay.
Okay.
And that's just so we make sure we don't have the same colors next to each other, right, Riley? I mean, that's our reasoning, correct?
So in that case, the colors wouldn't change if the colors are already identified by lot, correct?
They're
The only thing we're not
They're-
showing today
They're
is
not. That's what we're trying to say.
Okay, so maybe I
We
understood
just wanna
the
make
requirement
sure that
incorrectly
the-
then.
the-
I misunderstood. I thought it was just showing what an eightplex looked like.
No, they just want to make
If
sure
I
that
understand
the-
okay, I understand that.
So
now.
you'll need the
I
you'll need the
understand.
front, rear elevation,
Yeah.
side elevation
Fair
of every kind of building,
Fair enough.
and then which color scheme they are
That's
and
easy.
where they're placed.
That's easy. We can do that tonight. So I apologize. I misunderstood.
That's why when we're like 2 weeks, that's where Todd's like,
Sorry,
I don't think it should
I
take you 2 weeks.
I
to do that.
misunderstood the condition.
I know, when you said 2 weeks, I'm like,
Yeah,
like you
I
need to hire a
apologize.
different
I was
architect.
playing Candy Crush and I wasn't paying attention, so I apologize. No problem at all. We could do that tonight, and that's easy.
Okay.
Great.
Okay.
Any other questions for us?
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, this is a public hearing, so we'll open this to the public for comment, if anyone would like to comment on this item. Okay, we will close the public hearing, bring it back up here for discussion.
Just in two.
Proposed condition two, is that what you're?
Yeah. I guess it needs to be specific on where they're located at. That would be the only thing to be added to that.
The plan showing the color scheme.
Am I understanding that, Riley?
Color scheme of each set of buildings and where they are
Which
located.
building? Okay.
So add that in, the color scheme and where they are located
Is that
on the
not-
site plan.
Right.
Oh, sorry about that. Like this group of building is gonna have the red color scheme, and this group is gonna have the gray, and this one's gonna have the tan, and so on.
Okay,
Okay.
that makes more
To
sense.
identify the color scheme to the particular building with all the elevations, front, rear, and within that color. Front, rear, on both sides.
So are
And
we-
the applicant did say he would have it done tonight.
could have it done.
I hope the architect knows that the applicant said that it will be done tonight.
And I do know there's a bit of a desire to get this moving along, but logistically, if it's not in by tomorrow at noon, it's not going to happen at the next city council meeting. That's just an impossibility for the staff to put that all together, so you're on the clock.
Basically, we're holding you to that tonight.
So did are we understanding things correctly, Riley?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, just want to make sure that we have that correct.
I'm open to a motion. Someone would like to make one?
Just the only thing that I would change is just clarifying the specific color to the specific building, right? Follow me on that. You can do it? Go ahead. He's already said, I gotta say it first, right? Okay. I move the planning commission forward a recommendation for approval for the request of McKay Christensen for the proposed site plan on property located approximately 100 south and 1300 west in the Grove Zone District, the Boulevard Mixed Use Overlay, and adopt the exhibits, conditions, and finding of the staff report as modified by these conditions below. Number one, all final planning, engineering, and fire department requirements are met. That number two, all open space plan, the open space plan is updated to match the site plan. Okay, so that one's another one. Number three will be, prior to the city council, the applicant will provide updated elevations and color renderings for all the buildings, showing all of this, sets of the buildings, 3 through 8, however you're gonna lay those out. You're gonna need to have the front, rear, and side elevations and the colors for those specific buildings and those locations. Will be submitted, yes, showing the color scheme. Did I say that right?
Sounded good to me.
Okay,
Todd?
Sure.
just from what we were talking about. That would be it.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Clyde and a second by Commissioner Butler.
Did you get
All
that?
in-
Go ahead.
All in favor?
Aye.
Yeah, the motion carries. We will move on to item number 3, which is a public hearing to consider the request of Dana Lee to amend City Code Section 10-11D-2, permitted conditional and accessory uses by adding use number 6815, day nursery or child care center, to the list of permitted uses in the CS2 commercial sales 2 zone.
Thank you. Give me just one second. I was hoping that would fix our problems with this. But that's okay. We can move on without it. Okay, so item 3 is request for an approval of a code text amendment to add use number 6815, day nursery or child care center, to the list of permitted uses in the CS2 commercial sales 2 zone. Okay. The purpose of the CS2 zone is to provide appropriate locations where a combination of businesses, commercial, entertainment, and related activities may be established. The uses and regulations of this zone are designed to promote and encourage the development of shopping centers and smaller compatible satellite businesses. Because the proposed text amendment proposes a use staff believes to be in harmony with the intent of the established zone and no negative effects are anticipated, staff recommends approval. The intent of the code amendment is to make the use permitted in the zone. However, any future application for a child care center shall have a review and approval of multiple different regulatory agencies, such as the building department, fire department, etc. And all child care centers will need to meet additional zoning and planning regulations for parking, setbacks, pickup, drop-off areas, etc., for the protection of the business staff and patrons. So that's what I have. I can take any questions if you have any.
What are the, this is just curiosity mostly, what are the setback requirements for child care centers?
It's not specific to child care centers. It's going to be determined by the zone.
Okay,
If you'd like, I can pull up the
no,
requirements. for
that's
this
okay.
zone.
I just was wondering if we had something specific to those. That would make a difference, but,
Yeah.
thank you. Any other questions for Riley?
Nope.
I did have a question, but it slipped my mind.
Hurry quick, Peter. There's a Jazz game at 8.
I know.
Don't let Jeffrey talk.
Pre-game starts in 4 minutes.
Thank you, Riley.
but-
If Commissioner Butler remembers this question, we may have you come back.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay, is the applicant here? Are you the applicant?
Sorry. Do you mention, Chair, staff was surprised that this use is not permitted in the zone right now. You know, the list of uses is very extensive, and sometimes we don't get to cover all of them. We think that this use fits here perfectly, but we also think that it will fit into most commercial zones within the city. So eventually, we hope that spreads out, and that will be a motion by the city. But in this case, you know, when it's a city application, it takes us like 4 months, right? But in this case, the applicant wants to start a business, so we want to push this forward as soon as possible.
Thank you, Daniel.
The question that did come to my mind was like, no negative effects, like, would there be any negative effects to the city or anything like that?
No negative effects, but we need to understand also, and the applicant knows this. It looks like she's very well known. She has done this type of business before, so she knows all the pieces of the puzzle that needs to be put together to get this work out. The main concern that the staff has with daycares has to do with the safety of the kids. I was talking this with Riley, and we're talking about why it's usually not permitted on multifamily zones. Is because having a daycare in the third floor in case of a fire, and you have 3, 4 kids or 10 kids. So we usually don't allow them on places like that. In this case, we're only trying to add the use to make sure it's permitted. But as we brought down the staff report, it still needs to go through fire department and the building department, which is very important to make sure they have the correct exits. Now, in this case, they already have a building in mind, but we need to make sure that building fits meets the criteria for safety. And that will be at the time of the business license application, or in case they have to make some changes to the building, we will require a tenant improvement, what we call a TI building permit. But even at the time of the business license part, first, when someone submits for a business license, the first person that checks in the box is my city planner, and she got to make sure that the use is permitted. Second person is my building official, though she got to make sure that the building meets the criteria, or they need to go back and get a building permit, fire department, and so on. So I don't expect any detrimental consequences by adding this use, more than we will make our best to make sure it meets all the criteria for safety.
How much of that is though regulated really by the state? Because doesn't the state regulate childcare quite heavily?
It does, but also city building code regulates them a lot. I remember, because this is how I started my career, but just to give an idea, to have a childcare at your home and it's in the basement, the building code regulates what age you can have. And for example, if the kids are, this is in the building code, younger than 4 years, they cannot be in the basement. They need to be on the floor that has a right exit toward the outside. So I think for daycares, most of them are regulated by the building permit. But the state may do their part as well, because I think in order to get a license,
You have to.
from Doppel, then they need to make sure there's a lot of requirements.
Thank you. Would you like to add anything?
I would.
Okay, come up, tell us your name.
My name is Dana Lee, and the center that I'm representing and that I own is Little Geniuses Learning Center. We already have a facility in Midvale. We've been in business for about almost 3 years, and it's a fairly large center, and it is in a commercial zone area, or it is in a shopping center. So we were looking for something that would, have enough play area, because that's what is one of the requirements from childcare licensing, is to have a play area for the children, have enough exits, have the proper staff, so pretty much the capacity we're looking for is a small center. It's not going to be a large center, so maybe like about 30 to 35 kids in that building. And then we ratio according to age group. So for example, if it is, I'm sorry, I'm out of breath, I'm pregnant. So pretty much each age group has the ratio. We do follow the rules and regulations as far as childcare licensing. When we did open up our other center, we did get a fire department inspection, health inspection, to make sure, but we will not be providing any meals for the children. Right now, what we have is an outside vendor that supplies our food for the children. So we do provide, we do provide breakfast, lunch, and snack for the children. Our hours would be mainly from 6:30 in the morning to about 5:30 in the evening. And I do notice and realize that there is only one center that is servicing this area. They only are licensed for 35 kids. And this is a really serious need as far as how fast Pleasant Grove is growing, and also Linden. Most of the parents now that do need childcare, they have to go to other places. For example, American Fork, Orem, to be able to take their children to childcare. And I feel like we're in the center of everything, and it's a much needed service in this area.
Cool.
Chair, staff has some questions for the applicant, if you allow me to.
Yeah.
Have you signed up the lease, Dana? Have you signed up the lease?
No, we wanted to make sure before we signed on the dotted line. I know that the owner, she really wants us to take over the lease and to provide childcare at that building. She's had a dentist office in that building before, and it has been a dentist office. I know it's a CS2 zone. However, in that same shopping center, there are not CS2 sales tax. So basically, there is currently right now a CrossFit gym, a dance studio, and I think there's supposed to be a...
Dana, we don't require sales tax in that zone.
Oh, okay,
No, we
I'm
don't.
sorry.
No, that's the name of the zone, but we don't require that zone. So I'm glad that you haven't signed up the list. That's very smart. And my last question to you is, do you understand that this is only adding the use to permitted uses, but we're still going to work on a site plan, right? We still need to work out the drop-off and the pickups and where things like that are going to happen.
Oh,
We have to work on it. God, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions for the applicant?
Where's the location in Midvale? Do you know the address?
Not offhand. It's in the Smith Shopping Center on State Street.
Smith Shopping Center on State Street.
Yeah, there's a Smith Shopping Center, and I'm sorry, there's a Smith's food store in there. There's also McDonald's.
Okay.
I don't.
That's my hometown, so I'm just trying to see the location of your other of the other facility in comparison to what you're looking for
Did you
now.
want the address to the facility that
In
we
Midvale,
have?
yeah, in Midvale.
Oh, it is 7351 South 900 East in Midvale.
Okay. Okay, yeah, I know where that's at.
It's right across the street from Hillcrest High School.
Uh-huh, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, okay, just down the road from the Waffle House?
in the same shopping center.
Yep, okay. Yep, know exactly where that's at. So, a lot more busy traffic up there
A
than
lot
where
busier.
the proposed location is here.
Yes.
That's very cool.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
We'll open the public hearing for the people lurking in the lobby, and we'll close the public hearing. And I'm willing to take a motion or
I'll
discussion.
give you a motion, unless somebody want to discuss something? Okay. I move the planning commission forward a recommendation of approval for city council for the proposed amendments of city code section 10-11D-2C, permitted conditional and accessory uses, by adding use 6815, day nursery or child care center, to the list of permitted uses in the CS-2 zone, commercial sales 2 zone, and adopt the exhibits, conditions, and findings of the staff report as modified by the conditions below, which is none.
Second.
Yeah, I have a motion by Commissioner Clyde, second by Commissioner Fugel. All in favor?
Aye.
The motion carries. Now we had a chance to review the minutes from the last meeting. I'll take a motion on those minutes. Someone would like to make one?
Oh, sorry. I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes.
I just want someone else to do it once. Second.
Commissioner Coombs, a second by Commissioner Fugel. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Sorry, I saw Riley getting up. I thought, oh, something's not right. I just
I'll
wanted to make
take,
sure.
A motion to adjourn?
I'll make
I'll
a
motion to
motion, we adjourn.
All in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned.